Hi everyone. Um, I'm making this video because I feel compelled to add and contribute, be a person of value, a man of value, and help out other people out there who may be searching for a video like this over a 2016 Scion IM as in Mary model trim IM. Okay. Now, I'm making this video because I searched over the net and I saw somebody who had it, who actually put up a video, and it wasn't too helpful because he wasn't very detailed in what he was explaining, etc., etc. And he did some things that I would have researched before I messed with the vehicle, especially the condenser, which I will start on right now by explaining what I'm doing. So, if you have found this video on YouTube, it's probably because you have one of two things that you need to replace on this 2016 Scion IM. And that is either the engine fan slash condenser fan or the radiator itself. Now, like I said, if you find yourself on this channel, let me explain some things to you that you're going to need to know. First off, you will need a 10mm socket and ratchet, preferably maybe a 1/2 inch size if you got one. If not, 3/4 will do as well. 3/4 ratchet with 3/4 10mm, or the smaller size that I just mentioned a few seconds ago. Okay, here's the thing. It's pretty relatively easy to fix this vehicle, okay? It's just not that fun, okay? Now, I want to start off with some things. I have already taken out, let me bring this into the light so that you can see it, okay? I've already taken out the radiator and replaced the fan. So my particular situation was my engine fan, right, went bad, right? And this vehicle, 2016 Scion, is the equivalent of a 2017 Toyota Corolla IM model. Okay, 2017, 2018 is the same exact vehicle, literally, okay? Maybe there might be some slight differences here and there, but for the most part, I would say it's about a 70 to 75% exact match, okay? Now, this right here, my friends, is the radiator itself, okay? This is the radiator itself. My problem was not the radiator. My problem was this fan right here for the engine fan, okay? Now, what was in there, this is the OEM part right here. I got this from Toyota, okay? And they had to special order it. It took about 2 days, no, a day, I'm sorry, a whole day for it to come in. And with supply chains in 2023, the date I'm making this video is actually, I believe, the 12th of April, 2023. And it is about 11 o'clock at night. And anyhow, here is what was originally in there, okay? There goes the motor right there on the floor, okay? Now, I want to point out some things. This is like an aftermarket, okay? And I want you to know something. This up here, okay, does not work for aftermarket. You need to make sure that if you're going to get an aftermarket one, you want something that has, you see these bolts right here? There's some up here. This is the radiator itself, okay? That is the radiator right here. See the little spigot there? The hose clamp goes on that. Now, this piece of plastic that is attached to the radiator itself, if you look down here, do you see that 10mm? This is a 10mm bolt right here. And you could use, of course, a Phillip head to tighten it, or 10 millimeter. I highly recommend, if you can fit a 10 millimeter in there and get in there, I would do that. Okay, and there's one there. This is the bottom of the radiator. Okay, and then there is this bolt down here. Don't know if you can see that. If not, let me adjust this a little bit. Got one hand here, so sorry about that. And turn it at the bottom so you can see the other bolts. See that bolt right there? I don't know if the lighting is going to help or not, but because it's quite dark already. Right there. That is a 10 millimeter. So there's two of them. One up there and one on the other end. Okay? 10. And then you need these grommet pieces here. They come off real easy. You need to make sure they're on there because they go inside of the holes in the frame of the vehicle. Okay? Now, when you go to mount this, okay, this is where the only other video I found on YouTube that had something over this TC Scion failed to explain things was, when you go, and I highly recommend you go to the dealership and get this, okay, it's about $389 is what I paid, and that's with my friend's discount who has a shop, so your price may be a little higher. And I'm speaking from a price point here in Houston, Texas, okay, and 2023. Now, when you go to assemble this motor, okay, understand that there are some bolts. I don't know if I can see that. Let me see if I can get this to stay here and not fall on the floor. Okay. Now, there is this bolt right here. You see that? That bolt screws in from this side in here. See where my finger is? In there. Okay. So there's one. There is two right there. You see that shiny bolt right there? And then there is three right there, okay? And it goes in through the back, right here, okay? See my fingers pointing in there? All right. And then the fan itself, ladies and gentlemen, well, gentlemen, really, because most men are gonna be watching this, I'm sure. There is a bolt in the middle, okay? Now let me show you what I mean by that, where the fan is, okay? See how this little motor fan is right here? This right here in the center goes straight through. There's a tip, like a little bolt tip that allows you to screw a little screw on there. Now, in my experience doing this job today, okay, the part did not come, right, from Toyota, did not come with that bolt. So you will have to make sure that either you order the bolt separately, and this is the box that came from Toyota, okay? Here is the information right there, okay? Motor cooling fan. There's the part number right there. That is the part number you need for a Scion 2016 IM model, okay? Also, if you're in the neighborhood, check out my homeboy's garage. He does body repair on vehicles. Pongo's Garage is the name, okay? But there's the part number. If you're in Houston, Texas, and you have an accident, go ahead and reach out to my friend Pongo's Garage, all right? But here, again, that's the part number, okay? Now, please remember that, like I was explaining, there goes the one that came from Toyota right there on the left side. And then this is the one that was in there, which is aftermarket, okay? Now, be very careful. Don't just scrap that, the one that you're pulling out of the vehicle, because it has those bolts I pointed out a minute ago in this recording, which, let me refresh your memory, is this right here. 1, then there's 2, then there's 3 right there. And that was on this one right here, this fan that was originally in the engine inside of the car, and that was an aftermarket, okay? All right, so just remember that. The bolts will be right there, 1, 2, and 3, okay? Pull those out and put them on your new OEM Toyota part. Now, I went on ahead and replaced the fan. I got the whole assembly, okay? And if you'll look, this is the old fan that was in the vehicle originally, and that belongs to this unit right here. Now guys, please pay attention. There is, you see that little square right there? There is a tip that comes through there, okay? Let me show you what that tip looks like. This is what the other YouTube video that I found on Scion, the 2016 Scion did not explain. When you go and install the fan, all right, I want you to see something. Give me 1 sec. Let me grab a light so you can see better. When you go and do this kind of work, pay attention to the detail here, okay, guys? There's that little bolt tip I'm talking about. Can anyone see that there? Don't know, that lighting is not ideal, but it's right there, okay? It's right there in the middle. That, my friends, has like a little square. If you look at it, okay? Let me angle the camera here. If you look at it, it has like it's kind of like a square, okay? So when you go and look at this fan, you can see the clear outline of it right there, okay? There goes the outline of it. Now you have to line it up just right when you put this fan over this engine right here, okay? Don't just put it on and start tightening down the fan, okay? Because if you do that, you're gonna end up messing somebody's life up. Like the guy who repaired this fan did a horrible job and did not line this up, okay? And what I mean by lining it up is, let's see if I can catch it on tape here. You see that right there? It has to go in a particular way. You kind of play with it, move it around from right to left, okay? And then try to get it to go on there correctly, because it slides in and it kind of clicks in and you'll feel it, okay? Let me see if I can get this on camera, all right, y'all? So we'll put it like this, try to align it. See that? Boom, it clicked in. You see that right there? See how it kind of slides in perfectly? Now the idiot who tried to repair this vehicle did not know that. And because he didn't know that, he didn't put it on right. He put the bolt on there, okay? Because there's a little nut that's gonna go here, okay? Now, like I said, you guys can just order the nut separately because it does not come with the motor, the fan motor, okay? You'll have to order that part separately. So if you're watching this video, take notes, okay? I gave you the part number for the motor fan and all that good stuff, but it does not come with the little bolt that goes on here. Now, either you take it off the old one that's in the vehicle that you're repairing, okay, and doing this job on. If you're doing a ceiling fan, engine fan, okay, or make sure you order it, okay? If it's not on there, it falls off and it falls on the freeway or something. Make sure that it's on there, and if it's not on there, just order it. If I were you guys, and I know you guys are watching this because you want, information on how to do this job correctly, I would highly recommend that you order the bolt. Okay? So that's 15 minutes of me rambling, right? And let me go back over here and explain a few things, okay? Now, I had never done a job like this before on a Toyota, but I used to be a former tech for Honda and Lexus and Porsche a couple years ago. So in 2015, I kind of officially retired and started working with databases and got a career, right? So I had a good run working on vehicles, but now I make better money. So, but I still retain those skills, right? Which, by the way, I'm not knocking. It's very important, guys. Please learn a skill, man. Because in today's society, most guys aren't really doing anything with their lives. So please don't be one of those guys and do something. Learn a skill. Mechanic skill, very useful. This would save you a couple $100 here to do this yourself instead of paying some mechanic. Is going to charge you a lot. Okay. Okay. So what I want to point out is there goes when you do this job. If you're going to pull off the radiator, please remember to have yourself something to catch the radiator fluid, coolant that's going to come out of it, because I was not aware and not prepared both that I would have to remove the radiator to be able to pull out this big piece right here, as you can see right there on the floor. This was what was originally in there, and I did not know that was going to require me to remove the radiator. Now, keep in mind that no coolants or hoses run through it, okay? They're not running through it or anything like that. So the only issue was that it's kind of, let me show you this one. This is the one I'm about to put in there right now. And so you can see there is no coolant hoses or lines that go to it. Give me 1 second, y'all. Let me take off my jacket because it's kind of hot in here. So kind of hard to do this while on camera. Okay. Remove that. Put that over there. Okay. Now, here it is right here, guys. As you can see from this light that I'm using, hopefully this helps with the visual. There is no hoses that run directly into this piece of plastic right here. This is the original one that was in there. You see there's no lines or anything. The only thing that goes there is this motor, like, that engages with the clip, right? So that you can plug it in. Now, let me pull up my earpiece here. So there's no hoses or anything that go connected to the actual engine fan, okay, you guys? Now, when you start to bolt up and put the radiator itself, it will actually go on this piece of plastic. And as I showed you a few minutes ago, it will be bolted on there. If you can see that right here now, that bolt right there holds the radiator in place. There's one, and then here's two. You can see that down there. That's two. So these two hold this radiator in place. And the hose lines will go to the radiator, obviously, right? And you'll see there's one big one right there. And then there's a little one down there. So you can see that right there in the shot. Point at it. That right there. Okay. That right there. And then there's another one right there. Big one. Right there. You see that? Touch it right there with my finger. Now those will require hose lines to be attached to them. One thing that I do want to point out that I've noticed doing this job. Oh yeah, and here's the bleeder valve right there, next to this big one right here. All right, and so one thing I noticed I want to point out, make a note of, is if you look at this up top, okay, this is the first radiator that I've ever done, that I can remember anyway, that doesn't have a cap or anything to pouring coolant, right? Kind of odd, right? For those of you who are mechanics and are more up to date, maybe drop a line below and tell me why it doesn't have one, a radiator cap, so we can fill it up. I thought that to be interesting. All right, now back to the job at hand. If you'll give me 1 sec, I'm gonna put this right here so you can hold it for me for a little bit while I put my light into place so we can work with some light. Okay. All right, guys. Now, I have shown you little FYIs before installing this thing. Uninstalling is going to be in reverse order of installing, obviously, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys how this goes, okay? So I'm doing this with one hand, y'all, so be patient with me here. Oh, actually, let me show you guys a couple things here before I install this thing. All right, take my light here. If you look down there, do you see those big circles down there? Okay, those circles are actually for these pieces right here. Okay, they go here at the bottom of this radiator, this motor engine fan. Do you see that right there? I'm pointing at it with my finger, my pinky. It's right there. That right there, grommet or whatever you want to call it, this big rubber piece right here. Let me pull it off, okay? All right. That piece, my friends, actually, I'm gonna put this down. Give me a second. Oh, I am doing this as a one-man show, okay? By myself. So, I'm not a camera guy, so I'm not the best at this kind of stuff. I just know how to do the jobs for work. I'm not a camera guy. All right, now, if you'll take this grommet piece, whatever you want to call it, okay? Let me see if I can find something in here to hold the light. All right. If you'll look down here, this piece, make sure this fat, let's see if you can see it there with the light. This fat part is going to go in one of these holes here. Let me show you. See that right there? Watch. Right there. You slide it and it fits in place like that. Now, it may not go here where I put it in here, right? It might actually go over here. Now, this is the condenser, y'all. This is something very fragile. Please remember when you're working with this stuff to be very careful with it. Don't want to cause a leak and not have AC, especially if you're in Houston where I am, because it's horribly hot. And we're in April and we're about to start, we're in spring and in summer, I'm sorry, summer is right around the corner. Now, this grommet piece might go in here, but I'm not too sure. I think it does go in here, right there. Sorry, I'm sick, you guys. All right, put that in here, like that. But make sure it's on that unit right there at the bottom, okay? Now, this will go at the bottom of that. And then you'll slide that in and put that in there where I just showed you. All right, let me put it back.